So, welcome to my lay tips for the 8th of September. Before I get started, I just want to put in a shout out for the Pros First bookies on Betfair, where I am one of the professionals. My tip this week was a lay of a place and it was successful. So, definitely get in because looking at the tips that the pros and the bookies are putting in, they are quite good tips, even though we have to tip those quite early in the day. It looks like most of the tips are being successful, so there might be a bit of an edge there. Following some people that actually know what they're doing. So let's quickly jump into how we did yesterday. Yesterday was a really good day. We kept up the streak of winning with all bets being successful. Again, we had to skip quite a few, but out of the 31 tips, 31 of those were successful. And if you had stuck to the odds, you would have made $4 on a $30 risk. And had you gone with just all of the tips, you would have made $7.87. So, looking at where that is at the moment, had you stuck to the odds, you would have had only one loss out of 201 selections with a return of $25.59 when you're only risking $30 on each lay. At the liability on BSP, I am using BSP to record all the figures. You can get better results generally by laying in the market. Had you laid all of them, we've now had 350 selections. We've only lost one, which is a fairly good strike rate. And you would be up $52.61, risking that $30 liability. So that's pretty good considering we're only doing weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. There would be at least the equivalent of that midweek as well. So let's jump into today's tips and see what I've come up with. I think I have a tip at every meeting today. So we've got Bendigo, Gundagai, Mudgee, Alice Springs, Sunshine Coast, and Kalgoorlie. I've done these before. All the scratchings have been pushed out, so I know Kalgoorlie didn't have its scratchings in place yet. So just keep in mind a few of these may drop off the list through the day as scratchings are recorded. I'm generally up doing these sometime around 6 to 7 a.m. So let's jump in and see the selections for today. So we've got at Bendigo, race 1, number 14. He has died on both of his last runs and he's going for a longer distance today, and I don't see that helping. His fitness just isn't there. So I'm willing to risk that one up to the $600. Bendigo race 3, number 6. It's tried and failed at this distance really badly before. It's got some pretty poor form at the moment. So I'm willing to risk that one up to $200. Then we got Bendigo race 4, number 2. It's the wrong horse for the wrong race. The trainers just keeps misplacing it. The quality of this race is still too high for it. The trainers put it in some really high quality races and it's just run last. And he keeps dropping it, but I don't think this is a race that's going to win. So I've got that one all the way up to $1,000 odds. Bendigo race 5, number 13. It's the lowest class horse in the race. It's not running well enough to compete against the top horses in this race. So again, I'm willing to risk that up to $1,000. And in Bendigo race 5 again, number 12. It's the wrong distance for this horse. They've tried a few running styles on it. I'm not sure where it's going to end up, but from its barrier, it's likely to be in the midfield and just stick to the midfield. I don't see it really running on or dying off at the end. It'll just be sitting there. But because I'm not sure on the running style, I've only gone to the odds of 100 for that one. Okay, next one, we jump to Gundagai. So I've got quite a few at Gundagai. Race 1, number 13. It's got a wide barrier. It's got really poor form out of the 6 runs that it's had. So I'm willing to risk that up to $300. Gundagai race 2, number 7. It's got a wide barrier. It's pretty much burned out in its last run when it went 3 wide fairly early. It made up a lot of ground in that middle part of the race, which is a good sign of a good horse, but I think the jockey just went way too early on it. So it's had 20 runs for 1 placing. It's up in class this race. I think that last run kind of hurt it as well. So I'm willing to go up to 1,000 against the horses in this race. Same race, so race 2, number 13. It is up in class. Tab gave it a rating of 11.5 for the jumping class, and it's not running well enough in this race. I think it's one where the trainer just wants it to go around, or the owners are at the meet and just want to see their horse run. So willing to risk that up to $150. Gundagai race 3, I've got number 14. It's had 72 runs and only 4 wins. It's an older horse, not going to go too great in this race, so I expect it will be last when it comes out of the barriers, and it will remain last for the entire race. So willing to go up to $1,000 on that one. Then we got Gundagai race 4, number 16. It's outclassed. It's got a wide barrier. I don't see it really getting there based on that wide barrier. I've said here the horse only wins from a good barrier, so this wide barrier is he's just going to get caught out wide, or he's going to fall to the back and not make it up. But because there was nothing in this race that I could see that really stood out to win, I'm only going to go $40 on the odds. Gundagai race 5, I've got 3 horses, 2, 9, and 17. So I'm going to do these in reverse. Number 17, I like the other horses in this race, given where this one is in the barrier. It's had 5 runs, no wins. I'm willing to go up to $500 on this one. Number 9 has had some really poor trials, and the one race that it did run was very disappointing. I think it was double-digit margin. I don't see it improving from there, but willing to go up to 200 just in case there is an improvement. And number 2, again, barrier trials are very disappointing. This one, I believe, is a first starter. I don't see it winning based on what it's done in the barrier trials. So that will go up to $150. Obviously, I've gone less on the odds because you never know horses when they run their first race. And then we jump to Gundagai race 6, number 15. It's going to struggle in this race at a longer distance. It's hoping for a slow race. I don't see this being a slow race. I expect it's just not going to be able to run with these horses. So I'm willing to risk that one up to 200. Then we jump over to Mudgee in New South Wales. We've got race 3, number 11, 14 runs for 1 placings in the last 12 months. It's out of form. I don't see it improving. That will go up to $90 in the odds. Mudgee race 4, number 12. It's the wrong distance. It needs a lot longer. This is just a trial. You can think of this like a barrier trial for it. It just is doing this to get a bit of a run under its belt as it increases the distances that it's going to be racing. So I'm willing to go up to 1,000 on that horse, and that's kind of an angle that you can play quite a bit if you're looking for lays. If you look for horses that are running in the 1,200, 1,400, even 1,500 kind of range, but they generally run in the 2,000 meter range plus. Those early runs, they rarely win unless they're placed in a very low class race. Okay, let's jump to Mudgee race 6, number 17. This horse is outclassed. It hasn't got enough speed for this sprint, so I'm willing to go up to the odds of 200 on that one. Then we jump out to Alice Springs, which has a dirt track, which dirt tracks are generally leader biased. You want to get to the lead. It's very hard to make up ground. So Alice Springs race 1, it's only a small field. There's only 5 horses in this race, and I'm willing to lay 2 of the horses, both numbers 4 and 5. The top 3, I think the top 2 are the 2 that actually will take this out in the market. They're very low odds. The third one has a slight chance, but number 4 and 5, we'll probably get some odds under 100 that we can lay at. I've put in there that I'm willing to go up to the $50 range just because it is only a 5-horse race, and you never know, those top 3 horses burn each other out or run into each other, or they let one of these number 4 or 5 get to a lead and kind of steal it. So number 4 is completely outclassed. It should struggle against the top 2. And number 5 has been running really bad since its spell. It's going to struggle based on the current rating that it's getting, and I don't see it being close. Then we jump to race 2 at Alice Springs, number 9. It's only had 1 placing from 7 starts. It's up in class here, so I expect it will struggle. So I'm going to go up to $150 in the odds. And Alice Springs race 3, number 9. The spell that it recently had didn't help. It's lost the last 2 races by over 30 lengths combined. So willing to go up to $150 on that one as well. Then we jump to Sunshine Coast in Queensland. We've got 2 races there, race 4 and 7. Now in race 4, I've got number 10. It struggled at this distance and at this track. So I'm willing to risk it up to $300. And we've got race 7, number 16. It's outclassed in the race. There's no reason to see it getting close in this race at all. It's just too outclassed. It's had 48 races for only 3 wins. So I'm willing to go up to $100 in that race. Then we've got Kalgoorlie out west. We're only on races 1 and 2. There's quite a few high odds horses at Kalgoorlie, but I just struggled to see why they were at those really high odds. So this is one where I played it a bit safer and didn't take quite a few horses because they either had credentials at the distance or they'd been running fairly recently okay. So I've only gone with 2. So race 1, number 5, it's not running well enough. It's had 7 races, 0 wins or placings, and I'm only willing to risk that up to 80. And Kalgoorlie race 2, number 10, it's in a wide barrier. Again, the form is 7 races for 1 placing, and I'm only willing to go to $60 there. So again, hopefully we get a nice clean sweep through these races. Hopefully not too many of them are scratched. But yeah, it's going well so far. 1 from 350 being unsuccessful for your lays. I know the odds are fairly high that we get, but we are definitely starting to win back the unit that we lost and start to stack up some profits. So if we can get through today, we should be close to having that 1 unit again for those where we stick to the odds and covering another loss, whereas we've already covered almost 2 losses where you took all the odds. Okay, I'll leave it there. Hopefully, if you're betting on these today, you do with money that you know you can afford to lose, because obviously some horses will get up and we will have another loss at some point. Let's just hope it's not today. I'll be back next Saturday. I will try to put a post up on YouTube on Wednesday morning for the pros versus bookies lay that I will have. I do those generally Tuesday night. I find a bunch of contenders and then I will select one of those Wednesday morning after I find the scratchings have been released. So look out for that, and otherwise I will be back hopefully Saturday next week with another good message saying we won all our selections again. I'll see you then. Bye.